On February 9, 1003, Boleslaus III, also known as Boleslaus the Red, was reinstated as Duke of Bohemia with military assistance from Duke Bolesław I of Poland. Following his restoration, Boleslaus III ordered a massacre of his leading nobles, the Wersowci at Vyšehrad, which led to political instability. His brothers, Jaromir and Oldrich, fled to Germany and sought protection under King Henry II. Chester Racecourse, located in Chester, England, is recognized as the oldest racecourse still in operation. The first recorded race took place on February 9, 1539, under the consent of Mayor Henry G. His name is believed to have led to the term GG for horses. The racecourse is also known as the Rudi, a name derived from its historical use and location. On February 9, 1621, Cardinal Alessandro Ludovisi was elected pope, taking the name Gregory XV. His election was notable for being the last papal conclave decided by acclamation. During his papacy, Gregory XV is known for establishing the Congregation for the Propagation of the Faith, Congregatio de Propaganda Fide, to oversee missionary work. In February 1775, the British Parliament declared the colony of Massachusetts to be in a state of rebellion following events such as the Boston Tea Party and the formation of the Continental Congress. This declaration escalated tensions that led to the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War. In 1822, under the leadership of President Jean-Pierre Boyer, Haitian forces invaded the eastern part of the island of Hispaniola, leading to the unification of the island under Haitian control. This occupation lasted until 1844, when the Dominican Republic declared its independence. After no candidate secured a majority in the Electoral College during the 1824 presidential election, the decision was moved to the House of Representatives. On February 9, 1825, John Quincy Adams was elected as the sixth President of the United States in a contingent election. On February 9, 1849, revolutionaries in Rome proclaimed the establishment of the Roman Republic, replacing the Papal States' temporal power. This short-lived republic was part of the broader series of 1848 revolutions across Europe. On February 9, 1861, Jefferson Davis was elected as the Provisional President of the Confederate States of America by the Provisional Confederate Congress in Montgomery, Alabama. He was later inaugurated as the Confederacy's first and only president. On February 9, 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant signed a joint resolution of Congress establishing the U.S. Weather Bureau, which is known today as the National Weather Service. This agency was created to provide weather observations and warnings to ensure public safety. On February 9, 1895, William G. Morgan, a YMCA physical education director in Holyoke, Massachusetts, created a game called Mintonette, which was designed as a less strenuous alternative to basketball. The game was later renamed Volleyball and has since become a popular sport worldwide. On February 9, 1900, American tennis player Dwight "Philly" Davis established the Davis Cup, an international tennis competition between countries. Davis himself played on winning U.S. teams in the first two meetings, 1900 and 1902. On February 9, 1907, the National Union of Women's Suffrage Societies, NUWSS, organized the first large-scale women's procession through London. Despite inclement weather, approximately 3,000 women marched from Hyde Park to Exeter Hall on the Strand, advocating for women's suffrage. The event became known as the Mud March due to the challenging conditions. On February 9, 1920, the Svalbard Treaty was signed in Paris, granting Norway sovereignty over the Arctic archipelago of Svalbard. The treaty designated Svalbard as a demilitarized zone and allowed signatory nations equal rights to engage in commercial activities on the islands. Following a national referendum where 70% of voters favored repeal, Finland abolished its prohibition law on February 9, 1932. The prohibition, which had been in effect since 1919, was lifted due to widespread public discontent and the rise of illegal alcohol trade. On February 9, 1934, Greece, Romania, Yugoslavia, and Turkey formed the Balkan Entente. This political and military alliance aimed to maintain the geopolitical status quo in the region and counter potential threats from neighboring countries. On February 9, 1943, Allied forces declared Guadalcanal secure after Japanese forces evacuated the island, marking the end of the Battle of Guadalcanal. This six-month campaign was a significant turning point in the Pacific theater during World War II, as it halted Japanese expansion and shifted the momentum in favor of the Allies. On February 9, 1950, U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy claimed that the United States Department of State was infiltrated by communists. This assertion marked the beginning of a period known as the Second Red Scare, characterized by heightened fears of communist influence in the U.S. and leading to widespread investigations and accusations. On February 9, 1959, the Soviet Union's R-7 Semyorka, the world's first intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, became operational at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome. This development significantly advanced the Soviet Union's strategic capabilities during the Cold War. On February 9, 1964, the Beatles made their first appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, performing live before an estimated 73 million viewers across the United States. This performance is often credited with sparking the British invasion in American music and solidifying the band's international fame. On February 9, 1965, the United States Marine Corps sent a MiM-23 Hawk surface-to-air missile battalion to South Vietnam. This marked the first deployment of American combat troops to the region without an official advisory or training mission, escalating U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. On February 9, 1971, Satchel Paige became the first player from the Negro Leagues to be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Paige was renowned for his exceptional pitching skills and had a significant impact on the integration of Major League Baseball. On February 9, 1971, NASA's Apollo 14 mission safely returned to Earth after successfully completing the third human landing on the Moon. Astronauts Alan Shepard and Edgar Mitchell conducted lunar explorations, while Stuart Roosa remained in lunar orbit aboard the command module. On February 9, 1975, the Soviet spacecraft Soyuz 17 returned to Earth after a mission to the Salyut 4 space station. Cosmonauts Alexei Gubarev and Georgy Grechko conducted scientific experiments during their 29-day stay in orbit. On February 9, 1978, the Budd Company unveiled its first SPV-2000 self-propelled railcar in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Designed for commuter and intercity service, the SPV-2000 was an attempt to modernize passenger rail travel in the United States. In 1986, Halley's Comet made its most recent approach to the inner solar system, becoming visible from Earth. This periodic comet, which appears approximately every 76 years, was observed by astronomers worldwide during this passage. On February 9, 1996, a team of scientists led by Sigurd Hoffmann and Viktor Ninov at the Gesellschaft für Schwerenenerforschung (GSI) in Darmstadt, Germany, discovered the chemical element copernicium, element 112. Named in honor of astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus, copernicium is a synthetic element with no stable isotopes.